Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Let's start off with Robert and Holly. Now, the reason why I'm starting off with this part first is because I genuinely like this part probably the best. Let me tell you why. Because Robert came to the conclusion that no matter how much he loves Holly, they're just not compatible. They don't live in the same worlds. They don't, they don't have the same values, and so they're just never going to work out. And when it comes towards Holly and Ethan, I find this to be pretty stupid when you stop and think about it, right? So Holly wants to sit there and try to get money to help out Ethan because he's doing his whole Robin Hood thing, right? And just on that alone, like I get it, your heart might be in the right place. You want to sit there and give to these orphanages and stuff like that, but you are dealing with some very dangerous people. On what planet did you honestly think that you can just keep going along this route and that everything is just going to work out for you? And what I don't understand with Holly is that she is just so proud of him and she's like, oh, he's really doing a good thing. And I'm just like, on what planet do you think a parent is going to be looking at this situation and being like, well, he's stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, and not being like, are you out your goddamn mind? What are you doing? So even though the fact that Holly Smith, they're trying to come up with some funds or whatever to give to Ethan, okay, and what's to stop that? What's to stop him from going out and pissing off the next person? Like, at some point, Holly, listen, you look great and everything like that, and your skin is great, and you have a beautiful accent, but you don't sit there and think at some point you're a little bit too old to be Smith there trying to clean up your son's mistakes. And not even mistakes, but just like grave mistakes, like the type that is life threatening. You know? Like your son isn't just putting himself in danger, but he's also putting anyone that is connected to him in danger. I don't understand on what level she's just like, oh well, let me just sit there and get some money and help him out. Until when? Like none of that makes any sense. So I am so glad that he was just like, you know what, this is not gonna work out, and it is what it is. So the option was very clear from the start between Diane and Diane and Holly. I had to sit there and really think about that for a minute. I keep forgetting I watch so many different soaps. It's like, oh yeah, there's another Diane too. Yeah. Esme. I don't know what the hell they're doing with this character at this point. It's like they are making her a special kind of stupid. Okay. So Alexis is not there showing, Esme around and everything, and they bump into Sam. And she's like, oh, I know you. You're that report. You're that investigator, and this, that, and the third. Are you trying to set me up? Oh, I knew I wouldn't sit there, and I knew I couldn't sit there and trust you. I'm just gonna leave. I don't understand on what planet that this chick thinks that she's just going to run off somewhere with her baby and go exactly where, with what money, what resources whatsoever. I know that they, erased her memory and stuff like that. But the thing that, and I said this yesterday, the thing that just really annoys me at this point is that they took away her common sense. They took away her smarts and they replaced it with stupid juice. Because that's the only way I can sit there and explain how this chick thinks that her just leaving is the best idea. And, at this point, once again, Alexis has to sit there and try to give a reality check, right? She explains all the different ways about how you leaving is just not a good idea, and that you should be grateful that, somebody is willing to sit there and take a chance on you. She's like, all right, I'll stay for now. I'm like, Esme, you stupid. So she leaves, and Sam just looks at her like, the hell are you doing? Why are you allowing the snake into your office, into your life? Of course, Alexis sit there and give her all the reasons why it's a good idea for her to sit there and work there. Keeping her in Port Charles, keeping an eye on her, keeping an eye on the baby. It's just good all around. And if I gotta sit there and take the risk, then so be it. Because by extension, that child is her family. So then they talk about Gregory for a little bit, and she doesn't get into what Gregory has as far as his condition, but she does sit there and say that um she trusted him a little, he trusted her a little bit more, but now the dude is just not answering his phone. He's not keeping contact with her or anything like that. And so Sam is like, you need to sit there and talk to him. I get it, I get it, I get it. You've been way too pushy, and that's been very true. But a text, a call, just to sit there and say if you're okay. I don't think that's going to violate or that's going to make you come across as you being uberly pushy. So it's just rinse and repeat when it comes towards Portia. It really is. It really is, and it annoys me when I actually have to sit there and defend Spencer. Now today, and of course, Portia's still on her whole, oh, I want her away from my daughter. I want him away from my daughter. Even when Taggart, the real Taggart, comes in, it's like I don't think that's a good idea. Everyone has been sitting there trying to give this dingbat advice about listen, you just got to score back. And even Trina's like, listen, I'm mad at you, but I'm not that mad at you. Like, I'm willing to sit there and work on this. They're all giving her advice. But, Portia's an idiot. So she's doing what she thinks is right because, well, I just said she's an idiot. So, I'm also pissed off at her because she's actually making me defend Spencer now. Unfortunately, I can't sit there and defend him today because he runs across Esme, right? He's like, oh, what are you doing here? This, that, and the third. I was like, bro, you need to sit there and take that down a couple of notches. Um, you don't need to be sitting there questioning her on what she's doing, where she's at, or, just take it down a notch. Like, I was not a fan of the way he was sitting there coming at her with that type of energy. He's like, and she's like, yeah, well, I got a job or whatever. Your aunt gave me a job. And when Spencer's like, oh, who would ever hire you? You've never worked a day in your life. I was like, Spencer, do we all need to sit there? Does everyone in class need to sit there and remind you that you worked one job when you barely felt like coming in? And now you want to sit there and criticize her? Like, bro, you're not in a position to really sit there and talk about, well, you never really worked a day in your life. It was like, bro, you worked one job for like what, a month? Like, seriously, just take it down a notch. And this is when she does come out of pocket and it's like, yeah, well, I was gonna leave and this, that, and the third. And Spencer's like, listen, you can go anywhere you want. I'm gonna be there right with you. Okay. You can leave on the other side of the planet for all I care. That baby, yeah, that's a nine. That's not gonna happen. But to be fair, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can love that child. You can sit there. That's your brother and everything like that. But if she wants to sit there and leave with that child, guess what? That's her child. That is not your child. And there's this thing called a restraining order. So you might want to sit there and look into that before you start sitting there talking about how you're probably going to hunt her down wherever she goes, no matter where she goes, because that's yeah. You might want to just take it down a couple of notches. Instead of sitting there interrogating her. Because my whole thing is like you want her close. You don't want, and that's something else. When it comes to a Spencer, you want her close by. Okay? So you might want to sit there and dial down the attitude. Stop giving her reasons to sit there and just up and leave. You know? I don't. He needs to calm that down. Curtis, in the beginning, was being a dick to Jordan, right? And I'm like, bro, listen, she just came to sit there and ask you how you doing. You might want to really take that down a notch. But then he's like, I'm just kind of frustrated. He felt like he made a mistake doing the DNA testing because if it comes back that he is the father, he done uprooted her life. He he uprooted her life, and he didn't want to sit there and he doesn't want to sit there and cause her pain. And yeah, she could sit there and be like, yeah, you may be his, you may be her bio dad, and Tiger is always going to be her father, in every sense that matters. There's still an upset with that whole thing. So he's feeling kind of guilty, and of course Jordan's not there trying to practically talk him down the ledge. Jordan, why the hell did you just backslide today? On what planet did you actually think that did you think it was a good idea to let this man sit there and kiss you? I sat there and I watched it. I was like, oh, you gotta be out your goddamn. This dude practically treated you like trash. Okay? He was upset with you because you kept secrets. It was your job to sit there and keep the secrets that you kept. Yeah, you're married to her and secrets and certain things that y'all should be able to talk about, but when it comes to her work, you don't have that privilege. You need to stay in your lane. And this entitled prick felt like she needed to tell him everything. He treated you like garbage. He didn't even want to sit there and work on your marriage. He didn't even want to work on your marriage. The minute that Portia was in town, he made a beeline to her like there was no tomorrow. And you actually allowed this man to. Why? 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 That's what I like. I don't even want to sit there and say it was a weak moment. No, it was just stupid. And honestly, tell you the truth, Jordan deserves way better than trash ass Curtis. Yes, my dude did his thing out there in Greenland or wherever the hell they were. Alright? But when it comes towards you and him, he treats you like trash and I'm not even just mad. Okay, because I am mad, but I'm not even just mad. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. And trust me, being disappointed in someone is a whole lot worse than being mad at them. Just trust me on that. So that happened. So let's get into the Molly and TJ portion of this episode. Long story short, she can't get pregnant. She has endometriosis. I can't pronounce that name. All right, but she has that condition, and I'm gonna try to say it by the end of this review. I'm gonna try to say it. But anyway, she has that condition, so she can't get pregnant, and it's actually pretty heartbreaking to sit there and watch. It's not impossible for her to sit there and get pregnant, but you know, it's heartbreaking to sit there and watch, sit there and say nonetheless. I feel for her, to a certain extent, because I can only feel from her from a male's point of view. But it's hard to watch. Now, granted, yeah, we can sit there. Even Molly's like, I get it from, I'm very logical and stuff like that, and I know that we can always have a child another way. Logically speaking, yes, it's terrible, it's awful, but it's not the end of the world. There's always different treatments that she could sit there and try. There's adoption she could sit there and go into. We all know that from a logical point of view. She knows that from a logical point of view. That's the thing, though, when you're very logical. Emotions will sit there and creep up on you. And, TJ's just there just being a good partner, supporting her and everything. And, people are sitting there saying this is where we're going to do the whole Christina being a surrogate. But I'm just like, y'all could just sit there and adopt too. But, okay. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of disappointing that if they go that route, because I'm like, y'all could sit there and do so much with Christina, but because, you know, I feel like there's so many different options you could sit there and go with her. But you sit there and you rope her into a surrogate story. And part of me is sitting there being like, why? Because she's a woman? You can give her anything else better. Not to sit there and say that's not a good storyline, but there's so much other things you can sit there and do with her. Just sit there and be like, oh, we're gonna sit there and make her a surrogate. It's like I feel like that's like I'm not a fan of that. I know that's most likely the route they're gonna sit there and go with it, but I'm not a huge fan of it though, just to be honest. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. Can't really think of anything else. But like always, the same amount of the reviews, not sit there and say it in this one. If didn't miss anything, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're gonna be sitting there talking about all of them, Y&R, Days, GH, and BNB. Also, for anyone that forgot or didn't know, didn't get a notification, I did want to doing a video about the whole Haley, the woman that plays Molly, her the whole DUI thing for members. So if you are a member, definitely check it out. If you're not a member, hit the join button in the description box below. Become a member because I do videos like this when I get kind of in depth about certain characters as far as breakdowns, certain things that goes on in the you know stuff like this. Because I know this is going to be an unfortunate ongoing story. So it's something you want to sit there and check out. If you want to sit there and get my take on it, my opinion on it, hit the join button. Really does help out. I think we got 39 members so far, and I want to sit there and try to get to 44 by the end of the month. It's only a few days, but I feel like we can do it. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.